The hardest thing about chopping bacon is not eating all the bacon. Welcome back again today, Jam Fam. Don't be scared. Only, well, I have 30 dozen eggs and I know how to use them. Haha. Eggs are so affordable right now at this point. I mean, we don't know what's all coming for us in 2026, but right now I can get these 60, I almost said 60 dozen, but these 60 count boxes of eggs at Walmart for under $9. In Virginia. This is amazing. Not that long ago, egg prices had gone up all the way to $32 for one of these boxes. And so this afternoon, we are taking several hours to do as many massive freezer meals for my large family of 10 that we possibly can. These will all be high protein, and most of them will also be gluten-free and sugar-free. And I'm using a good bit of what I had on hand. I did need a few items from my big batch freezer meal guide list. So I did a small grocery delivery order. It came to about $176. But we will be filling my freezer with 20 to 30 big batch freezer meals. I am cooking from my big batch freezer meal guide. This is guide 22. I've created 2 dozen of these, and this is one of the breakfast focused guides. So we have breakfast big batch freezer meals, and these are the recipes that we're doing. So we are doing bacon and spinach egg cups, and we'll get up to 4 dozen of those. We're doing broccoli, sausage, and egg casserole. We're doing ham and broccoli protein cups. We're doing Italian spinach and mushroom breakfast bowl. I call it a breakfast bowl in the guide because the idea is if you do it individually, you could have the smaller meal prep containers. I am doing these as 9 by 13 casseroles to be a hearty breakfast for my household. I'm also doing Meat Lovers potato breakfast bowl. I'm gonna do some variety here. Some will have hash browns and some will not. Also, Philly cheesesteak potato breakfast bowl. There's 2 items from this big batch freezer meal recipe list I'm probably not getting today, but you and I will do these in a few days in another Get Ahead. Oh, my favorite big batch breakfast freezer meal video we're gonna do. But there's recipes in here for bacon, egg, and cheese croissant sandwiches and sausage, egg, and cheese croissant sandwiches. So my household loves homemade biscuits so much. And of course, even though we've done, I don't know, what did we do last time? Like 10 dozen, 8 dozen before. We continue to make biscuits to get ahead of them, but they go so quick. So my family is asking for homemade biscuits. Don't have time to add homemade biscuits to this afternoon's freezer cooking workflow, but we're gonna do those on Monday. And we have plenty that we can get done fairly quickly this afternoon and still end up with several filled freezer shelves. And as always, I'm making some accommodations based on what I have on hand. Like we have quite a bit of riced broccoli that I have stocked up on at Sharp Shopper the last few weeks. We're gonna use the riced broccoli in several of these recipes. You use the broccoli you have on hand. And I plan to get about 12 to 16 9 by 13 breakfast casseroles. And so about half of those are going to have a hash brown blend and half of them will not. That's just a personal accommodation that I'm making for my household. And if you're new here, my name is Jamerrill. Welcome to my channel. I've been doing massive freezer cooking videos on YouTube for over a decade, and I know that these videos bring in a lot of new viewers. And in several of my videos recently, new viewers have been asking me if I run a restaurant or if I feed a lot of people. So I am a mom of 9 feeding a household of 10, which includes my 3 elementary age children, my 3 teenagers, and 2 of my young adults who also still live at home full time while they're doing their grown-up things, plus my almost 80-year-old mama and myself. And here on my main channel for about 12 years now, we've been doing big batch cooking. We've made thousands of freezer meals, and I've been sharing all my big batch freezer cooking and meal prep strategies and frugal and stocking up grocery tips, plus a lot of real life along the way. And we call our family around here the Jam Fam, so welcome to the Jam Fam. And welcome back all my longtime Jam Fam viewers. And let's get cooking. So in my big batch freezer cooking guides, let me also say this. If you don't want to make, or you don't have the space to make 20 to 40 massive big batch freezer meals, I got you, because every big batch freezer meal guide also has a smallish big batch edition that will help you prep ahead and come out with 10 to 12 freezer meals, however you best need to accommodate it for your family size and your freezer size. And I love having everything thought out. So there's a big batch freezer meal prep guide, and we have these items that are listed out to prep ahead. Many times over the years, I love to prep these ahead the evening before, but I think that we can pull this off this afternoon. Some of these things we don't need to do, like we don't need to chop 4 12-ounce packages of broccoli because we have riced broccoli that we're using. We don't need to dice the ham because I bought the diced ham packs already from Walmart. We need to cook 4 pounds of ground beef. We need to cook our pork sausage. I don't have separate Italian sausage right now. This is one of my accommodations because I was trying to not buy anything extra, just what I absolutely needed and use what I have already stocked up. So we have pork sausage. We also have bacon. Ham is diced. We're going to cook the ground beef. We can chop. I've got some frozen spinach and I have some mushrooms. So let's do these items really quick to get going. It's about 10 pounds of sausage needed. I've had cold water defrosting happen. So these are 2, 4, and then 6. Yes. Hold on. Let me count. Counting by twos. These are because these are 2 pounds each. 2. And then we go to count by ones. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'll do this 11th, and just because I have it, we'll use it up. And then one of the recipes, it's a Philly cheesesteak inspired breakfast bake, needs 4 pounds of ground beef. So let's get our big pans going with this. Then we will get bacon going in the oven and go from there. So right now we are just going to get things cooking. We have our 10 pounds of ground sausage I had stocked up in the freezer, getting stocked up here at my local Sharp Shopper grocery outlet, as I love to call it. You know what we call it around here, America's cheapest grocery store. And I have 4 pounds of the 80-20 ground beef. I've also gotten there for only $3.99 a pound, which that price is amazing because even the cheap 70-30 ground beef at Walmart is almost $6 a pound for me here locally. So as long as I keep seeing that ground beef for $3.99, I'm stocking up on it. People have asked me to review that ground beef. We've been eating it just fine. Absolutely no problems. And you gotta love that $3.99 price. So I am just working here quickly to get all the sausage out of the wrappers, get it going in the 17-inch Lodge cast iron pan, which you know that I love. And then I'm going to get the 4 pounds of ground beef going in the other pan. Now, I am cooking an extra pound of sausage, but I've already got my almost 9-year-old and my 11-and-a-half-year-old. They're like hounds. The sausage scent has carried, and they've come in here to see what I'm cooking. So I told them, hey, I'm cooking some extra, and I will give you both some extra sausage here coming up. So already, that extra pound of sausage, what do we say? It's already gone, and that's okay, because that's why Mama meal preps. And when I am done getting all this meat out of the packages, get the packages thrown away, I do take a minute to wash the bowl out and wash my hands. Then we're grabbing my favorite oven mitts that some of my kids made for me with the little, what is it? The little hoop set, right? At some point, at some age, they get into making these, and I still have a nice Mama Heart collection of them. So using the meat chopper now, I'm chopping through all the sausage, and I'm chopping through all the ground beef, and we're just gonna continue to keep on cooking. The next thing I'm going to do is get all the bacon cooking in the oven. I love to big batch cook bacon all at one time in the oven. And we have a different variety of bacon, I'll show it to you here in a minute, that I also stocked up on at Sharp Shopper recently, and I am cooking more than the 8 pounds because, again, I have hungry hippos around here, and we all love our high protein. We all love our meat. We all love our eggs. And you know that I have lost 70 pounds around here, going from 210 now down in the 140s. And that has been a slow and gentle journey over the last several years. And I get asked all the time about how I've done that. And one of the most important keys that I have focused on is my daily protein goal numbers. So I personally, again, this is bio-individual needs, I have come to see that my body in this season of life, with all my different stress and hormones and perimenopause and life variables, I personally need to hit between 120 and 140 grams of protein a day. That's what works best for me, and I've done a lot of testing on myself. So all of my meals, I aim for 30 to 40 grams of protein at each meal. And then I swing my whole food carbs based around my time on my feet, whether I'm doing a lot of walking or whether it's a day where I'm going to have a run, especially if it's a day that I have an endurance event. I place my whole food carbs around that heavy movement. I love the flexibility of the 24 big batch freezer meal guides. Now, not only do these freezer cooking guides help fill a large family freezer, they help fill the freezer of any family size, also working with any size freezer. I have heard from empty nesters and families of 4 and families of 6 who have taken my big batch recipes and my freezer cooking instructions, and they've used my guides to scale their cooking easily to accommodate the amount of people they need to feed on a daily basis, and also to accommodate their freezer size, whether it's a deep freezer in the basement or a single freezer on top of a kitchen refrigerator. And that's why I put over 100 resources, all of my big batch freezer meal guides, my many meal plans, kitchen systems, 2 full courses, and so much more, an over $2,000 value in my big batch freezer meals and meal prep vault, which is currently over 90% off. Plus, for a limited time, you can use coupon code JAMFAM to save an additional $50. Click the first link in the description below. You can cook up all of these recipes and so much more. Just like Wendy said in one of the over 1,500 5-star reviews, I started following Jamerrill when I was trying to homeschool 2 kids at once and having a hard time with that and homeschooling at the same time. I would tell myself over and over, if Jamerrill can do it, I surely can. We are still only a family of 5, but I have half the recipes and taken advantage of them as for freezer stocking. Thank you for encouraging me and saving my sanity so many years ago. So you can imagine if dinner was handled, you opened your freezer and it was full. What if you could cook once and your family could eat for a week, a month, or 2? If you had a real system that actually worked for your real life, no matter the size of your family or your freezer, and the next hard season that came your way found your kitchen became your exhale when everything else felt heavy. That is what the Big Batch Freezer Meals and Meal Prep Vault accomplishes in your kitchen. Click the first link in the description below, head to largefamilytable/vault, use special coupon code JAMFAM to save even more. So our ground beef is done. I just turned that off. This sausage still has some pink areas. Of course, I mean, we've asked a lot, even of the 17-inch Lodge cast iron, 10 pounds of sausage in here. But that is okay. So next up, need to get several sheet pans of bacon going. And at least for the moment, we've got 2 ovens to do that in. You know, so many of my big batch freezer meals for the years at all my different houses that you have done big batch cooking with me in, I only had one oven available. So, and even this oven was out for several months. So it's nice to be fancy for a minute and be able to do 4 sheet pans at a time. That's 2 full-size ones and then 2 half-size ones. Cool. Cool and exciting. So I'm going to get this broken down a little more. And then it'll be bacon time, and this makes it ready real quick throw together recipes as far as doing dozens and dozens of the egg cups, meal prepping for now, and getting many, many dozen in the freezer. And we'll be able to throw together so many of these breakfast bake varieties. Here's the other bacon that I talked about that I got that, let's see here. Black Forest, yes, Black Forest seasoned thick cut bacon. Several of you in my last Sharp Shopper grocery haul video said you've never seen Black Forest bacon, so let's see what that's all about today. Then I have some bulk bacon from Costco we're also going to cook up. Again, cooking up more than what's needed for these meals because I have people looking at me who would like bacon and I'd like some too. If you have a problem in life, the answer many times is bacon. And I'm also thinking that this day is becoming a breakfast freezer meal prep day, where we are prepping all the ingredients and everything that's needed from Big Batch Freezer Meals Guide 22, focused on breakfast. Because life and stuff and things, as we say around here, I have a busy afternoon with kids coming in and out and afternoon activities. And I'm just gonna be happy getting everything prepped that we need to assemble these massive freezer meals. We do get a lot done. We do get a lot of freezer meal prep tackled on this day, which is gonna make our next freezer cooking day so much easier. Stick with me, see how much we get done today. It is mega massive. So you gotta love bacon, and you gotta love some great deals on bacon. And you also have to love bacon in the freezer. We have all of these things, and we love bacon, so we're already winning. I am going to line my sheet pans. Well, I'm going to put my baking racks down on my sheet pans, and I'm going to cook my bacon that way, except towards the end we also have 2 half-size sheet pans that we just put some parchment paper down and put the bacon directly on it, and it still works out okay. You know what I'm going to get out of this? I'm going to get a whole lot of amazing liquid gold. That's right, I'm going to have bacon grease again. I have missed my bacon grease, and it is my favorite cooking fat. Now, besides bacon grease, I learned in the last year or so that I also equally love cooking in lard. Besides that, I like cooking in tallow. I like cooking in all the animal fats, I guess. But we home rendered a good bit of lard at home. I believe it was early winter 2025. And we also home rendered a ton of tallow. And so the lard is very tasty, not quite as good as bacon grease, but a second best. It is definitely a second best. In fact, coming up at some point in 2026, I would like to get some more bacon fat again and do more home rendered lard, because that would be fantastic. And I used the lard up very quickly. So having bacon grease again is my idea of a good time. We're going to cook this bacon in the oven. I like to put it in the oven somewhere around 400 to 425, and we cook it for about 15 to 20 minutes. I will check it within that time. There are times that I put parchment paper down underneath my baking racks. It just helps the cleaning process, helps the scrubbing process later. Sometimes I forget. So, you never know what you're going to get. It was very helpful, though, for our 2 half-size sheet pans that we lined in parchment paper to have the parchment paper available to quickly and easily drain the bacon grease into our jars. But you're going to be seeing this bacon grease coming up in all kinds of videos, all kinds of fun adventures. So I know that these pans are smaller. They fit into like the regular size oven there. Also, all of my wire racks are being used on the full-size sheet pans. So this bacon is still going to cook. It's going to be down in the bacon grease, which, believe me, there are worse life problems. So we are okay with that. I also have been thinking about the glorious, glorious details of the fact that I'm going to be able to collect so much bacon grease, which is my favorite cooking fat, from all of this Big Batch bacon. I'm going to be ahead on bacon grease for a minute. That is my idea of a good time. So we got what was it, probably 8 pounds of Black Forest seasoned thick cut bacon in the oven. And we started on the Costco packs, and now we are going to hopefully finish out these Costco packs on these smaller pans. A lot of this bacon has to be cut up and crumbled anyway for our different low carb inspired breakfast bakes and egg protein cups. And as I said, I have a line of people who look like me waiting for the bacon. So we've got 2 packs left, and these are £1 each. So we will get those going. We are doing things. After we get this bacon in, I'm going to drain our sausage and ground beef. Then we need to wash and chop some mushrooms. Then we are ready to get going. All right, I got that bowl, getting some hot soapy water in it. Gonna get these pans in. Then we'll get our other pans drained. Wash mushrooms. I'll get those out. This can be coming up. I'll set a timer. Timer for my sheet pan bacon. I did off camera wash my scissors off, so that is good. Now I get asked often about how I wash these bowls, and of course now in this Mega Mama Dream Kitchen I have a sink it can almost fit in, but I've actually had these bowls since 2016. I've had these bowls for 10 years. Back at the Forest House, if you go back in video land, we were doing all our big batch cooking there. I have washed these bowls in regular size sinks. Absolutely no problem. I do like this. I have to fill them with hot soapy water and kind of wash them outside of the sink and then hold them in to rinse. Of course, again, with these Dream sinks, I can get them very well, but even in the original 1963 baby kitchen in this house, just regular old kitchen size sink there too, we also washed these bowls. And the size of the kitchen and the size of the sink does not hold us back. You know, I had limited counter space in the farmhouse and the Forest House and the original kitchen in this house. So what did we do? We just got kitchen stools and set kitchen stools around and use that to help hold things and hold platters and such. We actually never spilt off of a kitchen stool. I almost said kitchen school, but that too. So we make it work. Okay, so that one's ready to go. Now I'm going to make some noise and wash these mushrooms. Now for the Philly cheesesteak breakfast bake that we're doing, I have some already chopped onions and peppers from the freezer. We're going to use those in that, so we don't have to do any chopping there. That's a nice time savings if you need it. Walmart or even Sharp Shopper, I'll get bags of already chopped onions and peppers. And then we've had times where we chop our own. We freeze-dried them many times and also stick them in the freezer. Okay. Been going through my kitchen soap this afternoon. That's got a little bit left in it. And just peeking at the bacon. That's good. Bacon's doing its job. We need to drain this meat. That's next. Now I am washing and I am going to chop through these 2 packs of mushrooms. We are going to use these in the delicious upcoming Italian sausage, spinach, and mushroom breakfast bake. Now, we don't have Italian sausage. We have our mild sausage from Sharp Shopper. That is the sausage we're going to use. Italian sausage makes it even more fantastic, but regular old Italian sausage will also do the job. So I'm just going to quickly chop down these mushrooms. Now, this is a recipe that I know me and my mom and some of my young adults, at least half of us here will love this. My younger guys, they're going to see the mushrooms and not be so interested. And that's okay, because there's more for us. And that's fine. You know, they got things they love, they got things they don't. And I'm not going to chop the mushrooms down smaller to hide them, because the rest of us like them. And that's just fine. Plenty of things to choose from. And also now I'm just taking a few minutes to get the bacon out of the oven. This kitchen smells delicious, and I smelled like bacon grease on into the evening, but as I say, that's okay. Okay, so this is the best part. So we know these smaller pans of bacon, they cook quaster. Quaster is our new word for the Jam Fam. It means quicker and faster. They cooked quaster because they were on smaller pans and they were down in their grease. Their bacon grease, which is my favorite. So, and I've had lots of loud fans on in here. Whew, but now we can get this gold. Oh, I love doing eggs and non-starchy vegetables in this. It's my favorite. So I did put the parchment paper down. It doesn't keep it from needing to be washed or anything. It just makes it a little more kinder for my dishwasher. And I will get all the bacon grease off of this I can. There will be more that'll solidify that I'll scrape off. But I'm gonna grab this while we're here. Okay. So nice. I have been out of bacon grease and I have missed it. Our 2 bigger pans are still going. Yeah, they're getting there. They're just bigger and not down in their grease, so they're not boiling. But this, whew, beauty. That's a beauty. Nice. Okay, so the microwave, that is only good for one thing. It is a timer, okay? That's all it is good for. Yes. And the timer's working? No. I just turned it on. It's a lie. It doesn't really work. Timer. Just gonna do 10 minutes. Start. Timer. Nice. Okay, checking in. So we need to crumble our, well, that bacon's still cooking. We got our sausage cooked. The ham was already done. Ground beef was done. We chopped our mushrooms. So now we're going to go to our very first egg cup recipe, bacon and spinach egg cups. These are on page 14 and 15 of Breakfast Big Batch Freezer Meals Guide 22. And you can see how beautiful they are. We're not going to use the muffin wrappers for those. But we need 4 dozen eggs, 3 cups of milk, 2 pounds of bacon cooked and crumbled, 2 packs of baby spinach chopped, our cheese. This says cheddar. Cheddar is shredded cheddar. It's okay. It's always a good time around here. Cheddar. What I wanted to tell you is that I had my 15-year-old shred a block of mozzarella that we got at Sharp Shopper. We saved the other block because I wasn't fully in my cheese math, as one does. And I also have a cheese blend left over from Walmart. So we have enough cheese options. Then it's just salt and pepper to taste. So we're gonna get the eggs in the bowl, the milk, the salt and pepper. Also, for more protein, you can add in some cottage cheese. That's another good one. So these are not dairy-free. If that's something you need, you can leave the milk out, you can leave the cheese out, or use a dairy-free option. But let's get going on these while the other bacon finishes and get them in the oven. And if you would like to cook up this Big Batch Freezer Meals breakfast guide with me, click the first link in the description below, head to largefamilytable.com/vault for over 90% off. Plus, use special coupon code JAMFAM to take an additional $50 off for a limited time. So now I'm going to check in on my full-size sheet pans of bacon. They look like, I'm just eyeballing, they probably need another 7 to 8 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and just rotate them on the racks. And then I'm going to work on getting extra sheet pans out to put my muffin cup silicone pans on. I don't need liners whenever I use those, but I do need something to support the pan itself. I have enough to do 5 dozen at a time. So we are getting the sheet pans out, and I've got some avocado oil that I put in a smaller bowl and a brush. I'm out of avocado oil spray. And actually, when I looked at it the other day at Costco, it was like $14.99 for 2. And I was like, oh, I think I've got some loose avocado oil at home. So that's okay. I will save a few extra dollars, and I will brush on my own avocado oil. Yes, I will. Now, we could use bacon grease if we wanted to for this. I'm going to use the avocado oil and save the bacon grease, like when I'm doing fried eggs or zucchini. I mean, 'tis the season. We're coming on into that time. When I'm cooking in a pan, I want to have bacon grease ready to go. I miss it. The hardest thing about chopping bacon is not eating all the bacon. So I'm going to get this bacon chopped through, then we're going to chop the spinach through, and then we're going to get this first 4 dozen egg cups going. Then after that, we are going to do the ham and broccoli egg cups, but I am using the riced broccoli for that. Now, I'm also feeling super tempted to do a third variation and use bacon, sausage, because they didn't get into the extra sausage yet, but I did just feed them some extra bacon. I sent out a sample platter. It could be ham, bacon, and sausage, and even cheese protein cups. So we'll see. We'll see if we make that third variation. That third variation is not in this Big Batch cooking guide, but it's just a matter of adding in some extra meat, following the same cooking directions. The vegetable options are nice for whenever you're trying to get extra vegetables in. I know I look for all of my ways to hit my daily fiber goals. Okay, that's probably pretty good. Probably need to pull some of those pieces apart with my hands. Okay, I might be able to get my spinach on the other side here. This would also be delicious using something like riced broccoli. The recipe calls for 2 5-ounce baby spinach bags, and this is 12-ounce. Oh, and this is already chopped. Yay! I don't need to chop it. Okay, I will go ahead and put it in this bowl, this dish here, so everything can start to become friends, haha. And this was frozen, but I took it out earlier this morning and put it in my refrigerator. I'm just going to break it up with my hands here for a moment. And these mushrooms are not for these protein cups, but you could do a variety of ingredients. Always look for what you have on hand. Like I was just seeing red peppers. Whatever you have, you can put into these protein cups. They're wonderful to prep ahead for the week. They're also super great to have in the freezer. And what I do with so many of my freezer meals is I take them from the freezer and put them into my refrigerator and let them defrost. And then I would warm them in the microwave from there. You can also warm them in the oven if you would like. Okay, so that's looking nice and pretty and green. So now I am cracking dozens and dozens of eggs for our first round of egg cups. This spinach and bacon egg cup recipe is absolutely delicious. I think the day after this, I eat like 9 of those egg cups, basically broken down 3 egg cups, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, along with my green beans. Absolutely delicious. I'm so glad we got these dozens and dozens done. We end up with about 7 dozen total. I do have a little bit of the mixture left, and I cook that the next breakfast freezer cooking day that I have, but we're doing all the freezer meal prep on this day. Plus we get going with this first big batch freezer meal recipe. So just cracking down the eggs, filling the gigantic bowl, keeping the eggshells out, and having a great time while we're doing it. Alrighty, so we are doing 4 cups of cheese in here, which is about 4 handfuls, and instead of our cheddar or our shredder, whatever we were calling it, haha, we have shredded mozzarella. So again, that's just an example of using what you have on hand. And then we have our chopped spinach and our chopped bacon, and I'll do really good to not get my bacon napkins in our egg cup mixture. Look, winning already. I do have 1 hunk of cheese that's kind of stuck together. Okay, and then it's just a matter of folding them in. So come on, cheese, you can do it. I was distracted trying to get my mic turned on and float across the room quickly to get my stove fan turned off. So now we are going to, well, I'm going to brush the muffin cups with oil. There's that cheese that's I keep seeing floating around. Just cooperate, cheese, so we don't get a cheese cup, although that would also be delicious. We're going to brush the muffin cups with oil and then fill them about 3/4 of the way full. Always got to be some kind of little problem here. And then we'll put them in the oven. It'll be 350 for about 15 to 20 minutes. While these are in the oven, we're going to get the chopped ham and broccoli egg cups going. And we're going to use our riced broccoli from Sharp Shopper. And then I want to do the third variation, the extra meaty protein cups that I have. Those are just for bonus points. We don't mind 4 dozen extra bonus points protein cups. And so with our egg cups, I believe I said there's 2 variations. I actually, from the future, I get inspired to do 3 variations. So we are doing the spinach and bacon egg cups that are high protein, low carb, sugar-free, all the good things in today's freezer meal prep video. And then in our next massive breakfast freezer cooking video that'll follow, I also get inspired and we do a 3 meat and cheese, actually I'm calling it a meat lovers egg bite, and it's inspired by my meat lovers breakfast bake that we also do in 9x13s. But we take ham and bacon and sausage and mozzarella, and we make about another 5 to 7 dozen of those delicious egg bites. And then coming up, we're also going to make about 7 dozen of ham and broccoli egg bites. Now, in my recipe from Big Batch Freezer Meal Breakfast Guide 22, that has larger portions of broccoli, but again, I am using the organic riced broccoli I had marked down from Sharp Shopper. Those are also absolutely delicious. You just can't go wrong with egg bites. There's so many different variations that you can do. I know coming up in my next video, I make 4 9x13 Philly cheesesteak inspired breakfast bakes. 2 have shredded hash browns, 2 are kept low carb, but even Philly cheesesteak egg bites sound delicious and are delicious. So any of these recipes that you see me coming up that I make in 9x13 casserole size pans, you can also make that same amount of batter and end up with a dozen or so egg bites. I mean, that's normal for a sensible size. And then of course I have my big cookin' big batch size that will get 5 dozen to 7 dozen. And also in my big batch freezer meal breakfast guides and most of my big batch freezer cooking guides have an additional smallish batch guide. So you can end up with a sensible amount, 10 to 12 freezer meals in your freezer. And if you want to go all out and stock your freezer just like me, I also guide you through making 30 to 40 big batch style freezer meals, which I have heard from empty nesters and families of 4, from smaller size families, that they still use my big batch recipes. They just end up with many more recipes in their freezer and many more portions, which is always great. So we've got 5 dozen so far that are going in the oven. I did put some extra eggs in because I have extra and it is plentiful. So this will probably be another dozen to dozen and a half. But we're going to go ahead and get these going in the oven now, and we will switch them out and keep on baking through our mixture and also keep on going with our next egg cup variation. And while I'm at it, and I'm over here, we will harvest some more bacon grease. I need to set a timer to check on those. Again, it's 15 to 20 minutes, but we will check on them in 10 minutes because that's just the timer that's on my watch right now. That sounds like a good enough time to me. There's quite a bit on the pan also. Try to scrape off. And we have that life with many kids goes. We have something this afternoon that I think we need to leave for here in about 45 minutes. So we've done lots of prep work. We're going to keep on going. I think I can get one more egg bite variation done. And then I have to tidy up for today. And I have the bottom of my fridge cleared, so other things that are prepped can go on the bottom of the fridge. And then tomorrow afternoon, when we get back from things in the morning, we will keep on trucking with our egg bites and our breakfast casserole too. Let's see here. This for this. So today we did so much freezer meal prep that is going to absolutely set us up for success on my massive breakfast freezer meal day. And we got one of our big batch freezer meal recipes done where we made enough of the mix to make 7 dozen spinach and bacon egg bites, and we went ahead and baked through 5 dozen. I just ended up by the end of the evening, actually from the future, I can tell you that one of my folks here got some sand in their eye, and that was the evening. You know how it goes, moms. Things happen. They weren't on your to-do list, but all of a sudden, okay, this is what we're doing this evening. So very quickly, I realized that is what I was doing on this evening, and I was able to put the rest of the spinach and bacon egg bite mixture into the refrigerator. All of the meat that we cooked, the tons of bacon, the tons of sausage, the vegetables we prepped, all the prep work we did got put on my bottom shelf of my big refrigerator, and now that will all sit there and wait for me until tomorrow morning when the sand is out of the eye and we all had a good night's sleep and all things are right in the world. I have my big batch freezer meal prep done, and I can continue on cooking through the big batch freezer meal recipes in my breakfast guide 22 that will also be linked down in the description below. Be sure to use special coupon code JAMFAM that's available for a limited time to take an additional $50 off my brand new Big Batch Freezer Meals and Meal Prep Vault, where you will have over 100 resources valued at over $2,000. That is over 90% off currently, plus you get that additional 50% off coupon code. Thank you so much for everyone who is joining me over there in the vault. I love hearing from the families already who are cooking through the big batch recipes. I just heard from a family of 4 the other day who made one of the skillet dinners. They were so impressed with it, and they had extra portions to freeze for later, and they had some extra portions for a few more meals that week, and that is awesome to hear how you're getting ahead. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Thanks for being with me, and I'll see you real soon with another brand new video. Bye-bye.